This is Tony T here from TonySpicks.com with our college football pick show. This is week 5, part 2. We've got 10 of them, so that'll give us a total of 15 Saturday games for you already. Here we'll do them in parts throughout the week and get them all done for you. For more free pick videos, be sure to subscribe to our channel. Lots of free picks over our channel delivered by myself, as well as the team of cappers here at TonySpicks.com, making it a great channel to subscribe to. Give us a like, a thumbs up. We greatly appreciate it. It really helps us build up our audience. You know, we go live every day, 9:30 a.m. each time. It is the Tony Six Morning Show. The cappers join as well to give us live free picks here for the game. So make sure you guys check us out here on the Tony's Picks Morning Show. Looking for a capper? Well, apply. Send us an email form on the homepage. Then visit our site, TonySpicks.com. We are a multi-capper site showcasing top performers in our industry. Click the links to the hot cappers. Get signed up to long-term passes. You see them up there, guys like Sean Hicks for the year, Rod up there on the leaderboard as well, Jorge, Justin up there, Chris, guys you know from our live, Ramon, guys you know from our live shows, as well as our YouTube videos. Latest premium picks here in the center of the page with best bets and more will be locked and loaded for this card here on Wednesday. Remember, all of our one-day passes are profit guaranteed. They must turn a profit amount purchased will be credited back to your account for site credits. That's a profit guarantee. And then our promo code TonyT at checkout will knock off that 15%. The links in the description to get signed up. So let's go ahead. Let's get this one underway. All right, we got UCF and Kansas State for Saturday. UCF 3-0 after a 34-9 home victory against North Carolina. In the game, the Knights rushed for 4.2 yards a carry. It was a really strong defensive performance, holding the Tar Heels to 63 rushing yards and 4.6 yards per pass attempt. Taven Jackson, 25 of 32 passing for 223 yards and a touchdown. Kansas State sits at 1-3 after a 23-17 road defeat at Arizona. Wildcats rushed for 4.3 yards a carry and were ineffective in the passing game. I should say Kansas State Wildcats there. They limited the Arizona passing attack but allowed 234 yards rushing for 5.2 yards a carry. Every Johnson here, disappointment here, 13-29 passing for 88 yards and a rushing touchdown. You know, UCF has been efficient on both sides of the football. They are running for 6 yards a carry and getting accurate passing. Their pass defense holds foes at 4.7 yards per pass attempt. Quarterback play has been poor for the Wildcats. You know, they did get past an FCS school in North Dakota, but it was 38-35 to open the year, and they lost both home games. The Knights 4-2. The spread is an underdog. Pick here UCF +6. Georgia Tech and Wake Forest for Saturday. We've got here Georgia Tech 4-0 after a 45-24 home victory against Temple. The Yellow Jackets ran all over the Owls, 307 yards for 10.2 yards a carry. They shut down the Temple passing attack and allowed 184 yards rushing for 4.2 yards a carry. Haynes King, 13 of 18, passing for 161 yards and 2 touchdowns. Wake Forest 2-1 with their 34-24 home defeat to NC State. Even Deacon struggled on the ground with 59 yards. They allowed 205 yards rushing to the Wolfpack with 4.7 yards a carry and 6.3 yards per pass attempt. Robbie Ashford here, 21 of 35 passing for 252 yards and 2 interceptions. He had a rushing touchdown. Yellow Jackets struggled with the passing game in their lone road game, but were sharp defensively in rushing the football. Even Dinkins' passing game has been efficient at home, 8.3 yards per pass attempt with support from the ground game. Georgia Tech 0-4 the spread on the road, coming off a win by 17 or greater points. Pick here Wake Forest plus the 14. Cincinnati and Kansas for Saturday. Cincinnati 2-1 after their 70-0 home victory against FCS Northwestern State. Now, 2 weeks ago, it was a 34-20 home victory against Bowling Green. The Bearcats rushed for under 4 yards a carry, but effective throwing the football. They limited the Falcons at 2.9 yards a carry and 7.4 yards per pass attempt. Brendan Sorsby here in the game, 17 of 24 passing for 333 yards and 3 touchdowns. He rushed for 40 yards and a score. Kansas is 3-1 after a 41-10 home victory against West Virginia. The Jayhawks rushed for 242 yards with 5.9 yards a carry. They limited the Mountaineers' passing attack and allowed 181 yards rushing for 4.4 yards a carry. Jalen Daniels, 12 of 24 passing for 138 yards and 3 touchdowns. First road game for the Bearcats, who have a neutral site defeat to Nebraska by 3. Kansas has been balanced with effective rushing and accurate passing. The Bearcats have lost 3 straight on the road, failing to cover each game dating back to last season. You know, these are true road games here. The quarterback play was very poor in that neutral site defeat. Cincinnati 2-5 to the spread on the road as an underdog of 3.5 to 10 points. Jayhawks are 5-0 to the spread at home against winning teams. Pick here will be Kansas minus the 5. Louisville and Pittsburgh for Saturday. Louisville 3-0 after a 40-17 home victory against Bowling Green. The Cardinals rushed for 4.3 yards a carry, but effective through the air. They limit the Falcons' run game, but allowed 190 yards rushing for 6.6 yards a carry. Miller Moss 23 of 32 passing for 316 yards. Pitt, they're 2-1 after a 31-24 road defeat at West Virginia. The Panthers struggled on the ground with just over 1 yard per carry. They held the Mountaineers to 3 yards a carry, but 260 yards passing for 8.1 yards per attempt. Eli Olstein, 22 of 37 passing for 303 yards, a touchdown and a pick. He had a rushing score. Pittsburgh coming off a bye, and Louisville has played weak schedule. Cardinals have failed to cover all 3 games against their minor conference and FCS foes. The Panthers have an experienced quarterback and get efficient play from Holstein. The rushing yards the Cardinals allowed to their MAC foes still a concern. Louisville 1-9 to the spread as a road favorite. Pitt 4-1 to the spread as home dog. We'll take Pittsburgh here plus 4.5. Bowling Green and Ohio, this one for Saturday. Bowling Green 2-2 after their 40-17 road defeat to Louisville. The Falcons were able to rush for 190 yards for 6.6 yards a carry, but ineffectively throwing the football. Defensively, they allowed 4.3 yards a carry to the Cardinals, but 313 yards passing for 9.5 yards per pass attempt. Drew Pine, 11 of 21 passing for 131 yards with a touchdown and 2 interceptions. Ohio 2-2 after a 52-35 home victory to FCS Gardner-Webb. 2 weeks ago, it was a 37-9 road defeat at Ohio State. Bobcats could not get much going with their run game for 2 yards a carry and ineffective throwing the football. Defensively, they allowed 572 yards, really struggling both against the run and pass. Parker Navarro, 6 of 13 for 94 yards and a touchdown. Falcons were able to cover in road losses at Cincinnati and Louisville. In those road losses, they defended the run well and were able to rush for 4.6 yards a carry against power conference schools. Ohio has struggled to defend the pass at home by allowing 8.1 yards per pass attempt along with 4.5 yards per rush. The Falcons 8-2 to the spread as an underdog. The Bobcats 0-2 to the spread in 7 consecutive home games. We'll take Bowling Green here plus the 10. Utah State and Vanderbilt, this one for Saturday. Utah State 3-1 after a 48-7 home victory against FCS McNeese State. 2 weeks ago, it was a 49-30 home victory against Air Force. The Aggies had a balanced attack in the win as they rushed for 186 yards for 5.5 yards a carry and effective passing. They did allow 266 yards rushing for 4.3 yards a carry and 179 yards through the air. Bryson Barnes, 19 of 27 passing, 293 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. He rushed for 120 yards and 2 scores. Vanderbilt 4-0 after a 70-21 home victory against Georgia State. Commodores piled up 655 yards on that Panthers defense. Now, defensively, they allowed just 32 yards rushing and 258 yards in the air, but only 5.4 yards per pass attempt. Diego Pavia, 18 of 24 passing for 245 yards with a touchdown. He had 86 rushing and a touchdown in the game. Vanderbilt has shown great offensive prowess on the ground and through the air. Pavia, with his skills running the football, hasn't been accurate throwing the football, and he backs up his words. Barnes is developing into a quality quarterback as the team is completing 65% of his passes here for 9 yards per pass attempt and getting production on the ground. We've seen Vanderbilt light up that scoreboard here against the non-power school. The Aggies were able to put up 22 at Texas A&M in a game that landed at a total here of 66 points. Utah State has gone over in 6 of 7 against the FBS. Commodores 10-4 the over at home. Pick here, Utah State and Vanderbilt over 59.5. Eastern Michigan and Central Michigan, this one for Saturday. All right, we've got Eastern Michigan 1-3 after a 34-31 home victory against Louisiana. The Eagles rushed for 183 yards for 5.1 yards a carry. They allowed 214 yards rushing to the Raging Cajuns for 6.7 yards a carry and 6.5 yards per pass attempt. Noah Kim here, 21-31 passing for 226 yards with a touchdown and pick. He had a rushing touchdown in the game. Central Michigan 2-2 after a 49-10 home victory against FCS Wagner. The Eagles 2 weeks ago fell at Michigan 63-3. Chippewa's offense generated just 119 yards. They gave up 616 yards to the Wolverines. Joe Labus in the game, 4 of 8 passing for 26 yards and a pick. EMU has covered the past 2 games. They were able to put up 23 points on the road in Kentucky. They are rushing for 4.7 yards a carry and moving the football through the air. Western Michigan allowing 4.8 yards per rush, 9.7 yards per pass attempt. They are 0-3 as a home favorite of 7 or fewer points. We'll take Eastern Michigan here at plus the 6. Georgia Southern and James Madison, this one for Saturday. Georgia Southern 2-2 after a 45-17 home victory against FCS Maine. 2 weeks ago, it was a 41-34 home victory against Jacksonville State. Eagles rushed for 219 yards for 5.2 yards a carry and effective in the passing game. They allowed 214 yards rushing to the Gamecocks for 5.1 yards a carry and 7.2 yards per pass attempt. J.C. French 16-24 passing for 191 yards and a touchdown. James Madison 2-1 with their 31-13 road win at Liberty. The Dukes put up really good offensive performance with 227 yards rushing for 5.5 yards a carry and effective through the air. They shut down the Flames' passing attack and held them to just 3.7 yards a carry. Alonzo on the ground. Alonzo Barnett here, 17-25 passing for 213 yards with a touchdown and a pick. He rushed for 2 scores and 45 yards. Georgia Southern's defense has been hammered on the road, giving up 50 points a game, 8.6 yards per rush, 11 yards per pass attempt. They got 20 points at USC and scored 41 at home against Jacksonville State. James Madison has rushed effectively at home here, 224 yards average, 5.2 yards a carry. Eagles 5-0 to the over in their past 5. The Dukes 4-1 to the over at home, following a road win here. We'll take Georgia Southern and James Madison over 57.5. Arkansas State and UL Monroe for Saturday. Arkansas State 1-3 after their 28-21 road defeat at Kennesaw State. The Red Wolves rushed for 3.3 yards a carry and were inefficient in the passing game. They were poor defending the pass, allowing 308 yards passing for 9 yards per pass attempt. Jalen Rayner here, 25 of 41 passes for 226 yards, 2 touchdowns. UL Monroe 2-1 after their 31-25 road win at UTEP. The Warhawks rushed for 250 yards for 5.9 yards a carry and effective in the passing game. They held the Miners just over 1 yard per rush and 409 yards passing, though, for 8.2 yards per pass attempt. Aiden Armenta goes 8 of 14 for 136 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Red Wolves were competitive in an 8-point home loss at Iowa State. They're getting accurate quarterback play. The Warhawks' passing game completes just 56% and just 5.5 yards per pass attempt. Arkansas State has won and covered 9 straight against UL Monroe, so we'll take Arkansas State here at plus 2. Indiana and Iowa. This one going off here on Saturday. Indiana 4-0 after their 63-10 home victory against Illinois. Hoosiers had a monster offensive performance with 579 yards for the game. They held the fight on line 9 to just 2 yards rushing, 6.3 yards per pass attempt. Randall Mendoza 21-23 passing for 267 yards and 5 touchdowns. Iowa 3-1 after their 38-28 road win at Rutgers. The Hawkeyes were efficient in the passing game and rushed for 160 yards for 4.2 yards a carry. Hawkeyes held the Scarlet Knights here to 2.3 yards per rush and 330 yards passing for 8.3 yards per pass attempt. Mark Kornowski here, 12 of 18 passing for 186 yards. He rushed for 55 yards and 3 touchdowns. First road game for Indiana that played a weak non-conference schedule. Iowa pass defense against Rutgers is a concern against this Indiana team that piled up yardage on Illinois. The Hoosiers 3-0 the spread as road favorite. Pick here Indiana minus 7.5. For more free pick videos, be sure to subscribe to our channel. We have lots of free picks over our channel, written by myself as well as our team of cappers here at Tony'sPicks.com, making it a great channel to subscribe to. Hey, give us that like, that thumbs up. We greatly appreciate it. It really helps us build up our audience. And we go live every day, 9:30 a.m. each time. It is the Tony Hicks Morning Show. Check us out live or on the archive and interact with us in the live chat. Then visit our site, Tony'sPicks.com, for our best bets. Our premium plays are there from all our top-rated cappers. You'll see our best bets up, ready to roll. Remember, all of our one-day passes are profit guaranteed. They must turn a profit. Amount purchased is credit back to your account for site credits. That's profit guarantee. And then our promo code TonyT at checkout knocks off that 15%. The link is in the description to get signed up. That's going to do it for now. I'm Tony T, and we'll talk with you guys later.